The MacVoices Dispatch is our weekly newsletter about all things MacVoices. From the week's shows to Chuck's other appearances to the week's best MacVoices magazine articles, the Dispatch keeps you up to date. Sign up now at macvoices.com/newsletter. I did want to share something. This is sort of a follow-up to a conversation we had last week about how somebody's ChatGPT is sort of become the way that people refer to querying a large language model. I had some business travel last week, and I got on the plane, and they were going through the usual requirements that they have to go through. And somebody in back of me said to the flight attendant, "Hey, there's an AirPod on the floor over here." And they picked it up and they found the person whose AirPod it was, and that was great. But it really struck me that no, there's not an earpiece down here. There's not an earphone down here. There's an AirPod down here. Now, it was an AirPod, to be fair about it, but has Apple really captured the name of the device that goes in your ear that I'm wearing, that now everything is referred to as an AirPod, or almost everything?
Yep. Well, Isn't almost everything an AirPod? I occasionally do see some that aren't, but I think Apple's got a pretty large market share. And you don't hear people talk about, people have iPads, they don't have tablets.
Exactly. And Jim, I guess, I see, especially if I don't quite know why, but I see during air travel, I see a lot of AirPods. I also see quite a few Beats. And so, it struck me because it was one of those things that had nothing to do with me. There was no reason for that individual to say it other than whether they recognized it as an actual AirPod or not. That's what they called it. So
they could well have recognized it.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Because they are ubiquitous, and chances are that person may have owned their own AirPods.
Exactly. And yet there are an awful lot of folks out there that keep announcing they have new devices like
earbuds.
This. Mm-hmm. Yeah, earbuds. Thank you. Yeah, there's another one. New earbuds that are good, that are as good or better than Apple's, or have different features.
Most of the watches I see are Apple watches too.
Yep, agree.
Every now and then I will see something else, but it's like 95 out of 100 are Apple watches.
Brian?
Yeah, I was just going to comment that when we're about to do standardized testing, we're going around checking to make sure that electronic devices are put away, that type of thing. Oftentimes it'll be, make sure there's no AirPods in your ears, and once in a while you'll have the student who said they didn't, it's like, "Hey, I told you to take that out." "No, you told me to take AirPods out. I don't have AirPods in my ears. I have Beats in my ears," or whatever it might be. But
you get an A.
Passed.
Or go far with that attitude.
But yeah. So
yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting that they went that far. But on the other hand, they also have an Apple product. They got Beats. So
well, it could be something else, and totally, like, that kid's seen a lot of Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Jim, before we get off the subject of AirPods, you said that you had a story to tell about yours.
I do. So, as you may remember, the last 2 weeks I didn't have them because they weren't working. And I did some online research, and I found that supposedly you were able to press a combination of buttons and reset them, but that didn't work. I was seeing lights blink, so I was like, it seems like, maybe it's not completely dead. And then I found some people online saying, "Well, you're not going to believe this. I don't believe it, but I got my AirPods Max working again by leaving them in the freezer overnight." So I'm here to tell you that I am now one of those people that says, "I don't believe this, but I got my AirPods Max working by putting it in the freezer overnight." And I don't know why. I didn't see anything. I didn't find any canonical, like Apple told me to, or I don't understand how the first person did this, but I saw like at least a dozen posts online, and then, I stopped looking, of people saying that they had done this, and it worked. I took it out of the free, did this Sunday night, Monday morning. My wife is like, "What is the earth is the matter with you? You put headphones in our freezer." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I did that on purpose. But go ahead and take them out. It's probably enough time." I waited a few hours, and then they fired right up. And today I was like, I hope they still work. They do, as you can see. They seem to be fine. And the people that I saw online said, "Yeah, once I did it once, that was the end of it. It worked." I saw some people theorizing that maybe there was moisture inside, and somehow that caused it to condense out or something. But I didn't get the impression that they actually knew that this was true. So I don't know why it worked, but if any of you have AirPods Max and they don't work, try this before you throw them out.
Yep. Submerging them in turkey brine also fixes them.
Good to
You're
know.
just making that up. You're just making that up, Marty. But I am not, you can see I am wearing this, and I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, but people who are listening to the podcast don't realize you're broadcasting from inside a freezer.
Yeah. And somewhere some LLM is going to pick that up and recommend it to someone. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not even sure I have a theory. The condensation is as good as any.
I don't know, but I'm quite happy. These, I've had them. They're out of warranty. So I wasn't too keen on buying a new one, especially since they're basically identical to what I paid for, when I bought it 2-3 years ago. It's probably 3 years ago now, I suppose. And I don't even hardly take them out. I mostly just use them for Zoom calls. And I'm glad I bought them. I really like them for that, especially if you have like at a conference. One thing that's great is they're, I can wear AirPods Pro. They're nice, but hours on end if you have like an all day conference. And plus, with this, I don't have to worry about the battery. You can use it all day and probably a couple days, and it's still going to be fine. So I'm very happy to have them working, and I hope they keep working. If they stop again, I guess I'll try the freezer trick again. But
hey, it doesn't cost anything to try it.
No.
So but what I'd love to know is
family stress.
Who was the first person to think about? Hey, I think
that's
I'll
what
stick
I
the
would.
AirPods in the freezer.
I would. Maybe we could ask ChatGPT.
Yeah,
it'll hallucinate and answer for you, no problem.
I'm sure. But,
yeah.
Oh, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
The first person to freeze their AirPods was George Washington at the Battle of the Potomac.
I did put it.
They were still in his ears when he froze them.
Yes,
I did put it in a Ziploc bag. I don't know if that was. So some people had mentioned that. I don't know if that was necessary or not, but
so it doesn't condense when you pull it back out of the freezer.
I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea, so I did.
Well, didn't we? I'm trying to remember what was the old trick for when we were trying to resuscitate spinning hard drives that would get stuck. Did we put them in the freezer?
Yeah.
Put them in the freezer?
Yep.
Yeah. So
that worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe it's related. I don't know. Oh, this is what ChatGPT in our private chat.
Yeah. Users describe doing it for 10 to 30 minutes, sometimes up to an hour, letting the unit acclimate, often wrapped in a towel, letting condensation evaporate, then doing a reset.
I didn't do a reset afterwards. I mean, I tried to do it before. But when I brought it out, I just took it out and it connected.
Yeah. Cletus in the chat room says must shrink connections, make contacts.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's like bad solder joints.
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, there's something that you're not going to hear in many other podcasts is put your AirPods in the freezer if they don't work.
Yeah, and those crummy podcasts.
Yeah. Well, hey, once again, we're kind of off kilter here a little bit, but I like it because it's very much unscripted. Right now, we're probably about 4 or 5 days post delivery of new iPhones, and a little bit longer than that for delivery of some of the other new hardware. Anybody have any positives, negatives, anything to report? I know we've talked about last week we talked about what our choices were, but in between now our choices have been delivered. And so, and Webb, you started out by saying that you have done the complete switch over to everything. And, it sounds like you've also done the software updates for your Mac.
Yeah, I haven't done all my, if you would call them my production machines, but my MacBook Pro is, I did that Mac OS update and of course the new iPhones, the 2 iPhone 17 Pro Maxes that I got. Of course, as that process, you're going to OS 26, but yeah, and I didn't have any problems with it. You're always a little nervous doing it, and because you need it to go well, especially for my business phone, it has to go well. So I back it up and I use iMazing to make sure that if I have to restore something, I certainly can. I hope. But I think one thing, and I've been doing the Apple upgrade program since it was new, and since it was when dirt was new was when I started doing it. And I've been really pleased, but the whole migration process has seemed to have gotten better and better and smoother. Just for grins, this time I did one upgrade from phone to phone, and I did the second upgrade from iCloud to phone. And the iCloud one did go a lot faster, but it's the whole migration process I think works just so well, and they've really done a lot of work to smooth that out. So yeah, I was real pleased with it.
Who else had good experiences or issues that they want to share?
I didn't have any issues. I mean, everything went pretty well considering. Had a good experience at the Apple Store. I went back on. I did the pickup on delivery day and was able to get in right away because since I had pre-ordered. Everybody that was standing in line, of those who I shared pictures of the store, obviously didn't pre-order, so they were just standing in line waiting to let them in to maybe have a chance to buy a phone. But I was able to sneak in right away, and the process was just flawless. As always, as an Apple Store, it took me maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and I got to sit right in front of all the new iPhones and feel the Air, the iPhone Air, as well as the 17 and the 17 Pro. The setup process went really well. I did pick up 2 pairs of the AirPods Pro, one for myself and one for my wife. She got real excited about the translation feature, but one thing I think was a little disappointing with that is the languages are very limited right now. And interestingly enough, having English UK as one of the options, which I kind of chuckled about that. But interestingly enough, to Spanish that it's on there is for Spain and not for Mexico, which was kind of unusual because there are subtle differences between those, those derivatives of the language. But they had French and German, and there's so I think they got a little ways to go with that, but I'm glad to see that they did it. Apple Watch was fine. The only snafu I had was it didn't arrive early enough, like it was supposed to on Friday, like it said, but UPS automatically pushed it to, the next business day is Monday, but then apparently Apple flipped the bill and pushed it to be delivered on Saturday. So I did receive it on Saturday instead of Friday. So that worked out. overall experience with the iPhone so far is I actually love this color. I mean, I know everybody else is not a big fan of this orange, but I actually like it. I think it stands out. I think it's an exciting new color. Lots of people are buying it. I think they're pretty sold out, pretty much across the board on both the Pro and the Pro Max. So somebody must like it, but I do. I'm pleased with the decision. The new camera features, and we'll be talking a lot about this obviously for the next few weeks. That's the thing that really stands out the most on the iPhone is the new feature with the selfie camera, where you can hit the landscape button and not have to twist the phone to actual landscape to take the photo. And I know I've heard some people were complaining, you know what, I do it anyway, so why do I need to bother? But why would you? Because everybody physically wants to hold the phone like this to take a picture. And for years, we always complained about the fact that the photo was going to look like this when it gets posted, especially on social media. It looks kind of dorky. Then you got to put the frames around it to kind of, you always see that with the blur and stuff. So more to come as far as what you're going to discover what iOS 26 has. But overall, very good camera, very good iPhone. I'd even notice the performance. I feel it's got a bit uptick in performance too. It does seem zippier than in the past on past iPhones. So, and I've seen them all. So it's I'm impressed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to throw in a link. I did throw a link into the chat rooms about the fact that there seemed to be a whole lot of people packing Apple stores, not just David's, but everywhere. Because that's another thing we talked about. I think it was just last week that Apple's gotten away from those mega events or those mega store things where you had to show up, and so whether this has anything to do with it or not, I don't know. I love the fact though that it's that kind of thing is getting publicity. I had mine delivered. In fact, we were doing a live Mac show on the British Tech Network when mine arrived. So if you go back to that episode, you can see a live unboxing. But yeah, I mean, and my upgrade process has been seamless. I mean, just nothing. The only thing that I go through with this process that I'm sure you all too, it doesn't, and it shouldn't. I completely understand that. It does not carry over like your authentications or the apps that you're signed into. So you have to sign into your bank again for the first time. But it's also a lot easier now with the new passwords or with the passwords app, or 1Password, depending on which one. But so it's one of those things that, I just realized that I haven't done this since I got the new iPhone. And
if you don't mind, one more comment I'll make. It was interesting. I arrived really early because I wanted to make sure I got there early enough. My appointment was 8:45 a.m. local time to pick my iPhone up. So I got there like around 8. And there was a line out the door already. I was like, why? The store normally doesn't open until like 10. So I asked one of the Apple employees, and they said, "Oh yeah, we decided to open at 8 because of the launch day." So I guess they've changed their policy because a lot of times they hadn't done that in the past. So, and I was able to get in right away. I think about 8:05, 8:10, I was in and way ahead of my scheduled time to be there. So, I think Apple's starting to finally realize why not
Friday?
Open early. This was Friday, yeah, launch day.
I was in an Apple store about an hour and a half ago. It just seemed normal. I didn't even think about it until you brought it up.
Yeah. This is early morning, though. That's what I'm talking
about. Yeah. I'm not disputing. And who knows? Maybe the store I was at was busy on Friday. I mean, and it wasn't empty, but I didn't even think about it. It was just like, seemed a normal amount of people. Yeah. But it's Tuesday afternoon.
I don't think I ever
did anybody get the iPhone Air? I was interested to see it and pick it up, which I did. I wonder if anybody had any thoughts on that. There you go.
Oh, there's one, Marty. Should have known.
Course. He's got the trifecta of iPhones.
Yeah, I've been on too many shows because each show somebody convinced me to get a new product, and the last product I ordered was the was the Watch Ultra 3. And so, yeah, I got quite a few products. I got to tell you, I went to the store on Friday to pick up my Ultra 3 watch. And since I had it all set up, I got right to the front of the line. They put me through. It was crowded. They were not letting people in until people left. And this was Apple Eaton, up a suburb of Cleveland, which is, good income suburb of Cleveland. So there were a lot of folks in there purchasing, but I got in and out pretty quickly. And then my son and I kind of convinced my son to go back to the same store on Saturday. Same situation, even worse on Saturday, I think, with the Saturday crowd being there. He picked up some AirPods Pro 3. I picked up a tech woven case for my blue phone. So it was one of the few types of cases that not only had the little hangers on it, but also matched and aligned well with the phone color that I had. So I went ahead and got the tech woven. I have not spent much time with my iPhone Pro Max 17. I have not taken out of my hands the iPhone Air. I absolutely love it. I have it right now without a case. I do have a case for it, but putting a case for it, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like totally.
Ridiculous. It is, Jim. It's so weird because when the case is on there, it's like this doesn't feel like what an Air should feel like with the case on it.
What's the point?
Yeah, I did order a Totally. If you're familiar with Totally cases, they're like paper thin. And I might put that on there when it arrives. We'll see. It won't give the bulk that just any general case in Apple's clear case does on the iPhone. But I pay for insurance. I never use it. We'll see what happens. I do have a screen protector on it. I just do that with all the phones I have, and that works out well. My experience in the store was really good. First they brought the wrong watch, then they had to find the one that I got in stock for me, and it just took a little extra time, but that was busy. It was real busy, and there was some guy up front doing one of those Today at Apple lectures, and absolutely nobody was sitting there, and I felt for the guy because. He's got to do it to an audience of no one because everybody else is working with new product.
Same here. I had the same experience. I was about the only person sitting there, and I saw him started talking about Apple Intelligence and some of the new features of the iPhone 17. So I sat through it, and I took some notes too, so I could get some tips for the show. But he was almost like I felt like he was talking to nobody. You're right. Today at Apple, they call that, of course.
Marty, if you're buying whatever somebody recommends to you on every show you're on, have I told you how much I like my electric car?
That was it. We got a new car about 2 years ago, and that was the battle of the sexes here at home. I wanted to go electric, and wife was not quite ready for it, but maybe the next one.
Jim, thinking along that line, I was going to suggest that Web show Marty that picture of the new Ferrari. The heck with this electric car stuff.
Wait a minute. You guys are talking outside of the Apple ecosphere, all right? So
recommendations on a show.
That does not trigger anything in my pocketbook.
Hey, it's good enough for Eddie Q. I mean, if it's good enough for Eddie, it's good enough for us.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm sorry, but my car is better than any phone.
Brian, you had a different kind of experience as you purchased your new phone.
Yeah, so it wasn't a phone for me. For me, though, with the new products that got released, I wasn't immediately jumping at updating. The one that caught my eye probably the most was the AirPods Pro 3. I had updated to the 16 Pro last year. So I'm right now using AirPods Pro Gen 1, and they're fine. No big complaints, but they're starting to wear out a little bit. I was going to wait till maybe a Black Friday sale or, some sort of a discount, even if it was a year from now, to pick up new AirPods. But when I updated my iPad, it was or when I updated for the operating system, I had the M1 iPad Air, and I probably opted for too small of storage at the time. I had the 64 gig model, and it was serving me okay up until the last couple of releases where I had to start offloading a bunch of software in order to do updates. And this last one, I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna go ahead and see what is the trade-in right now, and take a look at the Apple Education discounts. So I went ahead and opted to update. So I got myself a M3 iPad Air. They gave me, I think, $250 for the product that was 2 or 3 years old, and said this is great. And they're throwing in an accessory. So essentially, the I like using the Logitech backlit Folio keyboard that they have for the iPad Air. And so I was using that, and I was reading some reviews. I was wondering, is that compatible with the M3? And initial thoughts on it said it was not compatible. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and with that free accessory right now through the education store, I'll go ahead and pick up the Magic Keyboard, And so I went ahead and opted for that. I set up the trade-in. So I picked up the new iPad in store, but I was going to have sent to my home the box to send back the old iPad. So I go into the store, make the purchase, come back, and I use my old Folio Logitech keyboard on the new iPad, and it works fine. It's completely compatible, no issues whatsoever. So then I figured, well, I don't need this Magic Keyboard anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and return that and just exchange it. I said, I'll definitely do the AirPods Pro 3. That's great. So I go in store. So it's the second time I go into the Apple store, and they end up having to do, they can't just exchange the two accessories. They have to do it as a full return and then like a repurchase. So that took out the, when they mailed me the box to send back the old iPad, that whole return label and stuff was voided. So it's a good thing I didn't send it back yet. And so it actually took a third time to go back to the Apple store. And that third time, they went ahead and credited back to a credit card the value they were giving me for that iPad Air, the M1. So I'm happy. I used the AirPods Pro 3. They are phenomenal. Updating it, 2 generations in between. I tested out that live translation, and just hearing like the difference in noise cancellation is truly amazing. So overall, great experience. It's just a couple nuances there. If anybody's looking to do that, take advantage of that program, it just, if you end up doing the accessory, the free accessory with the education discount for the next week or so, just know that just be real sure of, I guess, what accessory, or else you're going to be making a couple trips to the store.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dave, did you have something, or did you get everything in?
No, I'm good. I got everything I wanted to review. My purchases.
Yeah, the conversation was kind of flowing. Webb, you had a question about the scratches.
Yeah. Two things. First of all, I asked about liquid glass, if people liked it or not. My quick comment about liquid glass is that I think it's fine. There are a lot of things that I like, except that I don't like when you have. I use a lot of folders on my iPhone, and embedded folders for different icons to categorize, and those get a little bit difficult to read and understand. So I'm trying to figure that out. But the other thing was the scratching on the back was in the Macintosh press a lot over the weekend. Here, I showed love with the silver iPhone, but this glass part, I think, is that they call it, has been subject to scratching. I hadn't noticed it. I don't have any on this particular phone either, but I also use a case. I'm wondering about this, though, because for those of us that I'm included, and a couple of you are, is if you're on the iPhone upgrade program, and when you turn the phone back in, it has to be in really, really good condition. That's one of the reasons why I use a case and I use a screen protector to get that. And I've never had a phone rejected from the iPhone upgrade program, but I could see that could cause some problems a year from now when people turn these in if they have the scratches on the back. And if it's is it a design defect? Who knows? Am I holding it wrong? Who knows? So anyway, I just a couple of thoughts I throw out there and see if we have any comment on it.
I got a dark blue, and the first thing I did, I mean, literally, I didn't even migrate over everything. It landed in a speaking case, and I applied a screen protector to it, and then I started the migration process. Because Webb, you just brought it up. No matter how you're trading it, whether it's upgrade program or trade it back to Apple or just sell it, I get it. If you don't mind losing value or maybe not having those options, by all means. But the cases, I mean, some cases are expensive, some cases are cheap. But bottom line, they're going to protect you from scratches. If nothing else, it's going to protect you from scratches. So. But so as a result, here's mine. I have not had any issues, and nor do I expect to, because everything is enclosed. So, let's see, Dave, you had something. Then I have something else I want to bring up.
Yeah, I'll just add. I have the Spigen case too. This is $15. I mean, you can't beat this, and it doesn't. I like the fact that it is giving the color. And showing off the color. Now, Webb, I'll go back to your comment about the trade-in program. I decided the only reason why I had to go pick up the phone is because when I ordered it on pre-order day, the option to pick it up was given to me right away to pick it up on release day. If it was shipped, I would have gone to the 25th, so I didn't want to. Why should I wait? So I said, oh, cool. I don't mind going to the Apple store. I love going there. But I didn't trade my phone in right away. I wanted a couple days to make sure everything was good, especially with work, because I have to get all the authenticator apps switched over, and you do that too. Because it was a little bit of a pain, but I got everything pretty much moved over and checked before So on Sunday I returned it. I did have some, not really scratches, but they weren't deep enough that they're scratches. If you looked at it like just kind of like this and looking at it, it was fine. It was noticeable, kind of like smudges than anything else. But the guy at the Apple store looked at it. I watched him and he said, "Okay, you're all set." And then they already refunded it. And I was done. So that was what my comment was going to be, because most of the time, unless it's a deep gouge, like I've got an old iPhone 13 my wife had. It's got a pretty good scratch. I mean, it's somewhat deeper. If I were to go even try to get a trade-in value on it, it probably wouldn't pass. But this one, I wasn't worried about it because I'm not a big fan of screen protectors. I know a lot of you guys are, and I tend to be okay with that. So,
on Saturday, frankly, I forgot about the lack of necessity of turning it for landscape versus portrait. So I've got to go back and play with that. But I went to a music festival on Saturday, and I thought this is a great time because it's sort of one of the things I've done with all my new phones. I take it into a concert situation. This was outdoors. And I thought, I'm just going to play with the zoom. And the zoom on this thing is amazing. But I got some close-up shots of the drummer, like where the drummer's head is just filling the frame, okay, using the 40X. And during the day, it was a little fuzzy, but because, the light wasn't great back where the drummer was. But at dusk and at night, I got some amazing shots of even the drummer with the 40X. Now, is it crystal clear, tack sharp? No, but it also just shows you how good some of the AI has gotten, because before, any kind of digital zoom at that level would have just turned into pixels and would have been terrible. So if you're wondering about it, take a shot at it and see. the answer to me seemed to be the more light the better, because by that time they had the spots up and we're hitting everybody in the area with bright light. So if you got a lot of light, you're going to get some really pretty decent shots. Even if you have to stretch it out to 40x.
Yep.
So, I am sorry, Marty. I don't understand the question.
Oh, never mind.
Never mind. Okay,
Marty,
we'll explain it to you in After Dark.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm missing something. Yeah. So,
Marty, that means it's still working.
I apparently am the victim of the butt of some jokes here. I just don't know what they are.
No.
But yeah, I forgot about the square sensor and the fact that I didn't have to do it landscape. So now I've got to go back and play with that.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.